If you're a DACA recipient or a dreamer and you have a college degree, this video is for you. Now, remember on June 18th, the Biden administration announced that there would be changes made to make it a little bit easier for employers to for people to get a work visa and continue to work for either their employer or another employer. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about the realities of this. Basically, most employers, we're talking about H-1B or an L-1 visa. And the reason why is because those type of visas, you can have immigrant intent to reside here permanently, and non-immigrant intent, intent to reside in the U.S. temporarily. Now, if you've been here since you were 3 years old or lived here and have DACA, of course you have immigrant intent. So for other work visas, you cannot have immigrant intent. So these are specifically the visas that I'm talking about. You still have to depart the United States and re-enter the United States on the work visa. And this is where the change has taken place. The Biden administration has updated what is called the Field Adjudicators Manual, the FAM or FAM, to discuss and put as an element in a D3 waiver, which is a forgiveness waiver for a visa, a work visa, to put the major factor of wanting to approve the D3 waiver. Now, this waiver is not done on the paperwork. If you leave the United States and trigger what is the 10-year bar, then you have to go to the consulate, and the consulate officer will say, well, you have the 10-year bar, and you can say, yes, I know, I'd like a D3 waiver, and the officer will look at all the factors. This being a major factor and update to the FAM is that if somebody has DACA or is a dreamer, has a college degree and has a job offer with it that is matching the college degree, that they should generally approve the D3 waiver, and also it should be expedited. So there's two factors that are very helpful. Lots of people don't want to depart the United States because there's not a guarantee that the D3 waiver would be approved. However, that's where your immigration attorney, your employer's in-house immigration attorney can guide you through this process. It's very likely that you'll return. The concept that you can somehow just convert into or adjust status in the US to your employment visa from, let's say, DACA doesn't exist because you don't have any legal status to adjust from, right? So the good thing also about if you come back in on an H-1B or an L-1A, you can then adjust status after you return on the visa, because now you have a visa status to adjust from. Let's say you had DACA when you were under 18 and you've kept it since you were under 18. If that's true, you don't have unlawful presence in the US. Why is that important? It's because if you have 1 year or more of unlawful presence in the United States and you depart the United States, you trigger the 10-year bar. But there's a special rule when it comes to DACA recipients. And the USCIS has a policy that the clock doesn't even start on unlawful presence if you've maintained DACA that whole time. So you could be potentially 30 years old now, had DACA when you were under 18. If you leave the United States, you don't trigger the 10-year bar because you don't have unlawful presence. So when you go to the consulate to return on the work visa, you're not going to need to ask for a D3 waiver because you don't have unlawful presence, and therefore your departure didn't trigger the 10-year bar. Lastly, if you're freaked out and you're like, I don't care, I just don't want to go there, it's not a sure thing, you can, if you have DACA, once you are ready to leave the United States, you can ask for an emergency advance parole meeting with CIS and fee in your I-131 advance parole document and then get it approved the same day, so that you will be guaranteed to come back in on the advance parole should anything go haywire at the consulate and there's D3 waiver has not been granted and there's delays or there's confusion. This will allow you to be coming back to the United States on the advance parole. Then when the consulate clears up the problem, possibly, you might have to then ask for another advance parole to go out and come back in. The good thing is this, the policy has been updated. I think there's going to be more changes to come in the next administration, hopefully Harris, and we will keep you posted. Like, share, and follow on the Immigration Queen.